Hey guys, welcome back to All Things Knives. It's your host Fletcher, and today we are going to be talking regrinds. Before we do that, the gentleman who is responsible for helping make this video possible is John at BGM Knives. I had talked to him maybe about a week and a half ago, sent him in some knives. These are the knives before you. He took care of them. He did a really good job, really quick turnaround. This is his Instagram, his email, his phone number. If you're interested in some of his services, after I show you what he did today, go ahead and hit him up. An amazing gentleman. He also makes his custom knives. Really good guy. He did an amazing job, and his prices were good. So let's talk regrinds. Shout out to BGM Knives and Metalworks. He did an amazing job. So this is my CPM crew wear. I actually carried it today. You guys see those scuffs on it. It didn't come like that from him. It's because I carried it today. He did a hollow grind on this, if you see that. See how it kind of out shining, the light shining on different parts. That's one of the ways you can tell a hollow grind. He also brought this up a little bit, but ultimately I think it makes the knife look really cool. It looks really good. He did an amazing job. So I'm just going to show you how they look after the regrind. This is my Crewwear Shaman. It did have an acid wash on it. I'll maybe try to apply it. We'll see. He did this one as well, full flat grind. Did an amazing job. It was nearing 30 thousandths when John did his good work on it. Look at that. It kind of looks cool though. It's kind of like a two-tone, you know. So we got my K390 in Della. He did a full flat grind on that. This thing is thin. This thing is so thin now. I think it even thinned the tip out a little more from before. Not really worried about it. K390's got enough edge stability and toughness. This one is really what made me think about doing the regrind. These things come so thick from the factory. Like, it's not even funny. He went ahead and did a hollow grind, if you can see from there. You can kind of see it. He went super thin. You can kind of, this is definitely a more drastic hollow grind, if you guys can see it from there, how it dips in a little bit. All right, I'm going to show you just how thin they were, or sorry, how thin they are now that he's redone them. So I got my calipers. Honestly, this is the second best investment for my channel, besides the holder that I'm using to hold my phone right now while I videotape this. So, okay. I'm getting, oh my gosh, 7 thousandths. 7 thou. That's crazy. All right, let's see what this shaman's gonna read at. I'm actually getting about the same from the shaman. 14, 13 thou. Depending on how much I wanna. I mean, the tip is really where it matters. That's what I use a lot at my job. Sorry, guys. Trying to... 12 thou? You guys can see that? 12 thou? So, I mean, that's about 20 thou thinner than it was. So, this one, he got really thin. That I know for sure. Yeah, 9 thou. What I asked was around 0.1 thou, so he... And when I say thou, I'm meaning thousandths. It's just... That's just me shortening it up. Look at that. All of these knives were around 25 to 30 thousandths. I think some might have even been over. Yeah, so John did an amazing job. He kind of just puts like a basic edge, like a basic 250 edge, and then strops with green compound. So like I noticed the Crewwear didn't last as long as it normally would. And that's just because of the type of edge. It's just a quick edge so that when it gets back to you, it can cut, you use it up, and then you put one of your edges on there. But I'd say he did a phenomenal... This cuts so much better than he used to. This thing through boxes was like... Now it just kind of like... What I do is I just put that belly right there and I ride it. Works really well. Not to mention, it kind of changed the way that the knife feels in the hand. And I'd say I kind of like it more than what you... Because, you know, you lose some weight. So kind of... Because this had a real thick, heavy blade on it. The Shaman, I'm excited to try this. The tip, if you're familiar with the Shaman tip, it's a little thinner now. He kind of followed the distal taper too. So he did a really good job doing that. I'm really excited to see how these perform once I get a chance to do some of my edges on them. And I think I did these because I want them to be users. You know, like cutting users. Like, yeah, the Shaman's a big knife, but there is absolutely no reason you can't turn it into a slice, just a big slicey knife. There's no laws or anything. I mean, it'll void your warranty, but what are you really getting from Spyderco's warranty? Maybe sharpening? I mean, you got to pay for shipping. And, you know, maybe some pocket clips. They don't offer replacement blades. So it's like even if you were to break it in its standard condition, they just replace the whole knife. They don't do blades. I mean, this knife was $150, not to get reground, just retail. $150, $130, $200 is what I paid for this guy, maybe a little over, and then this was $212, you know, but they all came super thick. I don't like folding pry bars. I like folding scalpels. You know, I like a knife. I like something that cuts. I'm not in the type of job where where I would even think of using my knife as a screwdriver or a pry bar. I'm literally cutting boxes all day and plastic containers. That's what I do. So I want a knife that cuts well, and John delivered these. I'm really excited to try the K390 when I do my K390 test. That's what I'll probably carry this, and actually I'm going to carry this in my Endura. That's what I'm going to carry. This, I want to see how Benchmade's Crewwear holds up versus Spyderco's. So maybe when I get bored doing all these other, all these budget steels, maybe I'll jump back to Crewwear real quick. Or I'm thinking maybe for some of my budget steel doing this OS 10A. You know, and I know it wasn't going to be fair to OS 10A to have it on such a thick behind the edge. So I'm going to give it the benefit of a doubt and run it on thinner than I normally run knives, you know, and if it chips, then I know it can't handle that thin geometry. I don't think it'll have a problem, though. I really don't. I'm mainly just cutting boxes. If it chips, it chips. I got another 80-20 in the K110 from Knife Center. It's a clip point. I think I'll have him do that one, too, you know. I'll need to talk to him first, of course, but maybe have him do that one as well. See how the D2 runs very thin. And really, this is a good way to test these steels, you know? They have the edge stability. They really can support these thin geometries. And knife companies just aren't delivering. Yeah, I love Spyderco. I love Benchmade. The Demco knives are growing on me. You know, I'm not... the one problem I have with the Shark Lock is I can't... That hot spot. Not a hot spot. I just got to kind of hold it different. But yeah, I'm excited to see how these do. Because ultimately the 80-20 I think is a decent design, and the Shark Lock is super easy to use. And as someone who's ambidextrous, that means a lot to me right there. The only thing that I don't get is the slot. It should be one or the other. Like, you should just remove these and move the slot back, or just don't do the slot. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But I'm also not the one making and designing these knives, so I think most production knives should be ground thinner than they are. You know, it saves time and money to do the thicknesses they do, and most people are satisfied. But I think when you get to truly thin behind the edge, you're going to experience something with steels that you never had. They're going to last even longer. Think about it. That edge geometry is so much thinner. That edge geometry is amazing. It's just going to last that much longer. I just don't get why they haven't already done that. You know, and I think us as the knife community, we just need to ask them to. Because why should I have to pay another... Why? I mean, yes, John does an amazing job, and he makes part of his living doing this. But, I mean, he also makes custom knives. And I'm pretty sure he runs them thinner than most production companies. And most custom makers do. Because they know that these steels can handle it, and that these production companies, yes, I love Spyderco and Benchmade, but they're failing us in the fact that they should offer knives at thinner geometries, because what are knives? Knives aren't, if you need something to chop, use an axe or a bushcrafting knife. But for an EDC pocket knife, why shouldn't they be thin? Why shouldn't they cut well? I mean, Asher Knives does it. I've had plenty of their knives. I had one of their knives, after a couple sharpenings, was at 11 thousandths. Manly Knives does the same thing. They're at like 11 thousandths. I just don't get why a lot of these newer companies are able to do it, but these older companies aren't. Yeah, Spyderco's overall geometry is amazing, but imagine how much better it would be if they just made it thinner. Like, I'm not even asking 10 thousandths, but I'm literally asking for consistently under 20 thousandths. But most of my Spydercos, they come over 20 thousandths, which means that you're not really getting a good experience with a steel like 4V or Crewware, because they excel at geometries even thinner. Yeah, maybe your stainless steels need that, but for your tool steels, why not ground them a little thinner? People would love to see how a thinner knife cuts. And I guarantee you, most people won't have a problem, because most people aren't being a Neanderthal with their knife, you know, prying and screwing stuff. The guys who are doing that, they're buying the $20 Kershaws because they know they're beating up their knives. Anyways, let me know what your guys' thoughts are on edge geometry. If you guys were thinking about doing this, I posted some of this on Instagram, and you guys were all like, yeah, man, that sounds really cool. I want to do that. Showing John some love, and I really appreciate that, because small business owners like him are what fuel America, and they're part of what makes this country great, is that someone like him is able to do what he does because they're the people who create awesome stuff. They really are. They're the people who maybe make stuff that production companies don't, that the rest of us get to really enjoy. As always, thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, and stay sharp.